Welcome to Mindshift Reads, a channel that shares Vietnam's best-selling authors and books. Are you feeling overwhelmed by your emotions? Struggling to find peace in this chaotic world? What if the answer lies not outside, but in your own heart? Today, I'm reviewing a life-changing book that's helped millions reconnect with their inner peace. Understanding the Heart by Zen Master Minh Niem. The human heart is a source of love, but often also a source of pain and suffering. The most powerful and lasting way to transform suffering is through deep understanding of our own hearts and minds and of those around us. Understanding the Heart is a guide to doing exactly that. Drawing from years of spiritual practice, Buddhist wisdom, and psychological insight, Minh Niem offers a clear and compassionate path toward emotional healing, mindful awareness, and personal transformation. From anger to forgiveness, from loneliness to compassion, the book opens emotional doors we didn't know were closed. It meets us where we are, wounded, confused, searching, and walks beside us, not ahead. This book doesn't simply ask you to think, it asks you to observe, experience, and live with greater consciousness. Whether you're facing emotional difficulty or simply searching for more peace, this book is a companion that reminds you, healing begins with understanding. This is the debut work of Zen monk Minh Niem, the founder of the Understanding Meditation tradition, a unique path that weaves together Mahayana Buddhist thought with the insight of Vipassana practice. And yet, Understanding the Heart is far from a doctrinal or preachy text. It is not a book about Buddhism. It is a book about life. From the eyes of a monk who has walked both the inner and outer world, the book reflects deeply human concerns, happiness and heartbreak, love and loneliness, despair and surrender, weakness and stillness. Each of these emotions, raw and real, is gently cloaked in a robe of clarity and purity. And somehow, as we read, the burdens of our own heart begin to feel a little lighter. In the end, this book invites us not only to feel, but to heal, to dissolve sorrow, to touch joy. Perhaps that's why, more than 15 years since its first publication, Understanding the Heart continues to be reprinted and still shows no signs of fading. It has remained, year after year, among Vietnam's most beloved and best-selling titles. Zen Master Minh Niem began his spiritual journey in 1992. In 2001, he embraced the practice of meditation under the guidance of Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh in France, following the tradition of dwelling happily in the present moment. By 2005, he deepened his path through Vipassana meditation, mind observation, guided by Sayadaw U Tejanya in the United States, broadening his understanding of inner transformation and psychological healing. In 2011, he embarked on a unique 3-year wandering monastic journey across 25 states in the U.S., living in the wild, working on organic farms, and volunteering at therapeutic centers. He continued his search for spiritual clarity and insight into the human mind. Returning to Vietnam in 2014, Master Minh Niem began sharing his wisdom through mindfulness-based psychological practices at universities, businesses, and within the wider community, helping others find healing, clarity, and peace. 50 Lessons for Emotional Healing from Minh Niem's Understanding the Heart. Throughout the book, the author explores 50 core concepts of human life, each one a heartfelt therapeutic reflection. These insights are written with honesty, clarity, and simplicity. They speak to everyday emotions we all encounter, yet when reflected upon deeply, they reveal profound truths. Topics like suffering, happiness, love, anger, jealousy, selfishness, ambition, honesty, doubt, anxiety, hesitation, letting go, calmness, peace, loneliness, kind speech, and deep listening. Each chapter is a lesson in emotional healing, helping the reader recognize and better understand the subtle feelings that reside deep within the heart. These aren't abstract theories. They are lived experiences. And if we never stop to reflect on them, we risk repeating emotional cycles over and over, never finding a way out. But in Minh Niem's hands, even the most difficult emotions become precious lessons, each one a step toward healing and a door through which the heart can open and breathe freely again. Transform suffering into strength. Suffering, according to Minh Niem, is not something to be feared or fought. It is a signal from our inner world that something within us needs attention, love, and awareness. Rather than treating it as the enemy, we are encouraged to treat suffering as a teacher. Suffering often forms through resistance, when we suppress pain, deny difficult emotions, or run from our truth. Cultural norms, family conditioning, and personal trauma teach us to hide our wounds. Over time, they harden into patterns of avoidance. Nobody can make us miserable if we have a correct understanding and a big enough tolerance. In order to have that big enough tolerance ability, we must curtail our unnecessary desire. If we see that we can lead our lives steadily and happily without some of the things that we have previously deemed important, we should reject these superfluous things and allow ourselves to be less dependent on our situations, so that we can remain unaffected when these situations change. We should learn to face difficulties, or set up our own way of thinking and living without expecting safety and security at all times, so that we can build up endurance. Thus, although we don't expect life to push us into severe situations, we can make our minds strong so that we can withstand all life's ups and downs. To have such a strong mind, we must limit our likes and try to accept our dislikes. Likes or dislikes are just emotions that temporarily serve us. We just need to adjust our way of thinking before those emotions quickly evaporate. Indeed, we should be grateful to sufferings because they can help us understand what happiness is, as well as build up our stamina so that we develop the survival instincts hidden within us. Similarly, if we never get lost, we will not know that we have fear. If we are never insulted, we will not clearly know how angry we can get. If we are never deceived, we will not know how easily we can be hurt. And if we are never deserted, we will not know our real emotional weakness. It is the expression of our survival instincts that helps us clearly see all the hidden corners of the afflictions that create sufferings. By understanding these, we can figure out how to adjust our consciousness and our way of life to be in harmony with the universe. We may then understand ourselves, have compassion grow inside us, and we can tread a more leisurely path through the trials and tribulations of this world without the fear of the unexpected. The true nature of happiness. From wanting to being happiness has been felt quite differently from society to society and from era to era, formed by collective as well as individual understanding. All our struggles to obtain as many material comforts and spiritual comforts as possible, like honor, serve only to satisfy our emotions and to soothe our never-ending desires for satisfaction. At times, we may have to sacrifice those good feelings for a more significant kind of happiness. It is satisfying the mind. Although satisfying the mind is still a form of satisfying our ego, it is a more subtle satisfaction that we can only realize by paying it close attention. It goes beyond the mediocre requirements of habit. We make every effort to endure pain and make use of all our understanding and skills to deal with difficulties. Therefore, its qualities are certainly more durable than the kind of happiness that is simply created by waves of emotion. That is because the nature of emotions keeps changing due to consciousness and the influences of the surroundings. Therefore, we can see that happiness, created by satisfying the emotions, requires more conditions than happiness that is made by satisfying the mind. Thus, no happiness comes from heaven, and no paradise consists solely of happiness, because the concept of happiness exists only when people can feel suffering. Happiness cannot exist without suffering. What place is more wonderful than this earth, where both happiness and suffering are found? Actually, happiness obtained from emotions being satisfied and happiness obtained from the mind being satisfied both come from inside us rather than from external conditions. True happiness is the psychological state of not wanting anything else to serve ourselves, while not needing to get rid of anything we consider unbeneficial. It is better described as contentment and acceptance. It is true because it is the kind of happiness which is obtained from our peace of mind and is not completely reliant on external situations. That is why happiness and peace should go together, peace and happiness, to be long-lasting. So, happiness inside us will extend infinitely if we can realize our essential natures and if we can live being conscious and understanding of what we are doing, as well as how we are doing it. We will find true happiness if we can learn to let go of unnecessary greed and resistance and allow our minuscule selves to evaporate into the universe and to work in harmony with everyone and everything. Thus, we can feel as much happiness as our mind allows, because happiness naturally exists inside us, right here and right now. The power of mindful presence, how stillness heals the heart. Not thinking is also a very important state that helps the mind to be more balanced and insightful. Looking at a flower without thinking or being distracted by the future or the past, we will see clearly a flower blooming this morning. This is a state of full presence, or mental concentration. Mental concentration is the mind being still in the reality and recognizing clearly what is happening within us and around us. If we maintain our focus ability on a certain object chosen in reality, with sufficient time and without distraction by other notions, we can create concentration power, the power of the focus. Strong mental focus can send out a bright energy on the object, so the more we look at it, the more we recognize its active composition or its true nature. The true presence of both our body and mind will enhance the object value, and we will also enjoy and profit more. Another profound truth is that when the mind is settled, being present 100% in the present moment, it can connect with peaceful energy already available in the universe. It will calm down toxic energy within us and lift up valuable qualities in the depth of our soul. In particular, mental focus helps us maintain steadily the ability to observe afflictions from the time of their birth to the moment they disappear. To practice the habit of concentration, we have to give ourselves a good opportunity to come back to ourselves. We cannot expect the mind to become still if we're still chasing everything. A gentle and quiet space will facilitate us to bring our mind back and be joined with our body. A high degree of mental focus has the capacity to burn away part of the affliction, making us feel lighter, calmer, and more insightful. So, only when the mind is still can we observe steadily and carefully all compositions of afflictions. Then we will know what to do and what not to do to transform them. And only when the focus power and the observation power become well-trained can the seed of wisdom begin to grow. At that time, we will see clearly our status and life exactly like its true nature always. We will suffer no longer. Transform emotional storms into inner calm. Human activities lie within the control of the psychological mechanism, which consists of 4 elements: feeling, senses, imaginary thoughts, imagination, mental formation, reaction, and consciousness, recognition, and remembrance. Each element is a combination formed and constantly impacted by other elements. Feeling has the function of receiving what the senses accept from the outside. Imagination has the function of showing again all the data stored in the consciousness. In addition, it can shape those data into new data to help us create, discover, or make up all kinds of things. Consciousness has the function of recognizing what the senses contact, at the same time storing the whole information from heredity to whatever it has received up to now. This unlimited storage part is also called mental storage, subconscious mind, or consciousness depth. Mental formation manifests love, tolerance, patience, flexibility, modesty, and even anger, discrimination, haughtiness, loneliness, despair, etc. In general, all attitudes of likes and dislikes belong to the function of mental formation. Though each element plays an important and inseparable role to function, mental formation is the direct messenger of the self, ego. It can be said that mental formation is the home of the self. Actually, all the attitudes of likes and dislikes are the seeds hiding deeply in the consciousness storage. When these seeds are impacted by the external environment, via the senses, or aroused by other seeds nearby, they become a source of energy emerged on the surface of the consciousness. Though most mental formations embrace the likes and dislikes characteristics, only those that manifest momentary reactions without the reason's rationality and interference can be classified as emotions. We cannot live without emotions because they are human sentimental pitches. But when emotions are maximized that they go beyond the control of reason, it is the situation when we lose our own self-control. We have to accept the mistakes made while under the control of emotions and the consequences afterward. Therefore, wise people have to sacrifice unnecessary good emotions and accept necessary bad emotions in order to reach loftier goals of true and lasting happiness. When we can understand and can transform stormy emotions, our life can have lasting peace and freedom. Afflictions originally are phenomena, so emotions are also phenomena. They arise from the erroneous functioning of our psychological mechanisms, with the main cause being the erroneous perception about the ego. Remember that we cannot use reason to suppress one perception and replace it with another. What we should do is to diligently maintain the habit of observing all changes in our mind in all situations. And then we can recognize the false characteristic of those emotions. Once desires and conflicts are gone, afflictions or emotions will disappear too. Our mind will become clear and calm, like the still surface of a lake. When emotions are placed in a regularly supervised framework, they will become an important and necessary material to create colors and precious flavors for life, because man is a lively reality, not inanimate wood or stone. Final thoughts: a journey toward healing and peace. Though this book explores human emotions from the simplest to the most complex ones, it's not merely a book of psychology. It can also heal wounds in your soul as soon as you open your heart to accept it, and the better you understand the methods and try to practice them, the more suffering you can dissolve. I do hope that you will accept this book as a companion and neither be too hopeful nor indifferent. It is certainly impossible to describe all the corners of mankind's psychological emotions in this little book, but it will be quite enough for you to take on your road to find true happiness. Especially at the present time as negativity increasingly overshadows the good, this book is an essential catalyst for awakening the spiritual values which have long been asleep inside each of us. The journey of understanding the heart doesn't end when we finish the last page. It opens a new path, a path of living with greater calm, with a gentler heart amidst the chaos of life. The key to happiness isn't somewhere far away. It lies quietly within each of our hearts. Thank you for watching. If you found value in this video, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. Your support helps me create more heartfelt book reviews like this one. Wishing you peace, presence, and deep understanding. See you next time.